Welcome to Goodwood, a show about board games. Today we're going to be reviewing Cascadia. Will it stay on my shelf, or should I let this game go into extinction? Let's find out. Cascadia is a tile-laying game for 2 to 5 players, but it can also be played by yourself. In Cascadia, you'll be building a landscape of tiles with animals living upon them, starting from a modest 3-tile starting area to a colourful map by the end. The winner of Cascadia is the person with the most points, and points are allocated according to 2 main criteria: your animals and your habitats. For habitats, you score a point for each tile in your largest contiguous area of each habitat type. For example, this is my largest desert area, and it has 9 tiles contributing to it, scoring it 9 points. You also get bonus points for having the largest of each type of habitat compared to your peers at the end of the game. For animals, that's a little more complicated. There are 5 animals in the game: foxes, bears, hawks, salmon, and elk. Each animal earns you points in different ways, usually by the distribution and position of these animals related to the other pieces. For example, salmon gives you points when they're placed in linear runs, while bears earn you points for groups. So those are the scoring criteria. Now for the actual gameplay. Each player takes it in turns to select a habitat tile, and the animal directly below it, from a selection of 4. You then add your new tile and animal onto the board. Animals don't have to go on the tile you've just taken, but it must be placed on a tile with the associated animal pictured on it. Afterwards, the selection is replenished, and it's the next player's turn. The game continues until the pool of new tiles run out. Then the game ends and the points are tallied. There's some wrinkles which allow for some flexibility. If there are too many animals of one type in the selection panel, then there's an overpopulation rule which helps to keep the choices interesting. In addition, you gain nature tokens each time you place an animal on a tile with this icon. Each of these is worth an extra point at the end of the game, but you can also trade them in during your turn to refresh the animal tokens, or take a mismatching combination of habitat tile and animal. So here's what I like about Cascadia. First and foremost, the game is so smooth. It just flows so well. Game setup is minimal. It only takes 5 minutes to explain the rules, so it doesn't matter how many newbies you have. The theme? Well, it could have been anything really. You could keep the rules exactly the same and replace the animals with aliens in space. But Cascadia's theme is so inoffensive that you'd struggle to find someone who wouldn't want to play it. You can also complete a game within just 45 minutes. There's some variation in the box as well. The animal scoring cards each have 4 versions with slightly different criteria. For example, look how differently these 2 elk cards score. There's a solo mode. Now, I'm not a huge solo board gamer. I've only played this solo once, and coming from someone who'd rather pick up a book or a PS5 controller over a board game, the time I spent playing this solo just flew by. This is a direct result of minimal setup time and the little to no upkeep during the game. There are also achievements and challenges in the back of the rulebook. These give you targets to aim towards or ways of making the game slightly more difficult, helping to spice things up every game. What do I not like? Honestly, not much. There isn't much player interaction, and as a result you might spend most of the game staring at your own board in silence. I don't love this, but it's short enough for me to give it a pass. And it's not a particularly thinky game. If you want something more challenging, then this isn't it. I'm on the fence as to whether the core gameplay will become stale. I feel that the next logical step would be a new animal, and new scoring rules for that animal, but I'm hesitant to endorse adding more components. I don't think it will necessarily make the game any more fun, other than perhaps increasing its longevity. If they made an expansion for Cascadia, unless it was very well priced, it would be hard to justify not spending that money towards a completely different game. There's been a huge amount of hype around Cascadia, and even now it's currently out of stock due to its popularity. I don't think it's necessarily undeserving of this praise. It does what it does very well. I just don't think it's particularly innovative. I don't think innovation and enjoyment in board games correlate, but I do think it's worthwhile knowing what you're buying. Cascadia is very reasonably priced. Just be aware that you may also have similar tile-laying games which may obviate the need to add Cascadia to your collection. I'm keeping Cascadia for now. I want to play this a lot more, but I can foresee a point where I would feel ready to hand this great game over to someone else to have a go. If you like or are thinking of getting Cascadia, why don't you also consider Isle of Cats, Calico, Patchwork, and Glenmore 2 Chronicles. Thanks for watching. Goodwood isn't sponsored by any board game companies, and all games are purchased by myself. If you'd like to see more videos just like this one, please subscribe to the channel. See you next time.